ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहैः तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Okay. So we did this yesterday. We did the 41st verse yesterday. Tasmat tvamindriyaanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. And before that, so the whole theme is all about how this desire, karma, is a nitya vairi, is a permanent enemy, and how it covers knowledge, how it dilutes knowledge. Just as smoke covers fire, and just as dust covers the mirror, and as the fetus is covered by the womb, so too in different degrees, karma covers knowledge, jnana. And how does it function? Where is it located? The adhisthana for karma is threefold. One is the senses, manas, and the buddhi. So the senses become adhisthana. So therefore, how do we remove delusion? What can you do about this delusion? Exercise your capacity to curtail or stop the senses whenever you want something that does not benefit you. Any sense pursuit can be stopped just short of overt expression. So we have two aspects. One is shama and the other is dhamma. Dhamma is having a say over our senses before even the desire is put into action, whereas, or having the sense of saying enough. Your senses are they are in contact with the sense object, but then at a point you say enough and no more. So one can always say enough, even when from inside the desire keeps saying, come on, have a little more. So to stop a sense pursuit at the level of the senses is called dhamma. And then we saw shama is having a say on your likes and dislikes, keeping a certain distance between yourself and your likes and dislikes is shama. So don't fall prey to simple fancies and wants. Always look into yourself and see what is proper. Is it feasible, necessary, and useful to fulfill a particular desire? Is it proper? There may not be anything wrong with the desire. See, the mind will come up with a lot of justifications. There's nothing wrong with the desire. It may be quite legitimate, but not at all necessary. So it is need based. Is it needed? If it's needed, go ahead. If it's not needed, if it's only coming out of fancy or greed or because of your likes and dislikes, then have a certain distance. Or it may be feasible to fulfill the desire. You may be able to buy something that you want, but you do not need it. Therefore, why buy it? It may be useful, but is it necessary to have this particular object? So instead of simply buying it, consider first how useful it is in terms of your priorities. So having weighed all the factors, you can then go with the desire or not go with it. This deliberation is shama. And if having gone along with the desire, you find that you want more and more, then you say thus far, no further. This is where you require dhamma. That is why you require both shama and dhamma, which can be practiced daily whenever you feel like having another helping of food. Only when you practice shama and dhamma can you manage your wants. Otherwise, they will manage you and make a mess of your life. Therefore, taking the various factors into account, go with your desires, but do not let them make your decisions for you. To manage your desires in this way, you need to be very alert, as Krishna points out in this next verse. This verse was Tasmat Vamindriyanyadav Niyamya Bharatarshava Papmanam Prajahihyenam Jnana Vijnana Nashan. So, therefore, O Arjuna, controlling the senses at the outset, destroy indeed the sinner, the destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. In this verse, Krishna told Arjuna to destroy his karma, which had turned into krodha and had robbed him of his wisdom, which in turn would make him a sinner, a papma. The karma was to be destroyed in terms of giving it up, as Shankara makes it very clear in his commentary. Giving up the want, not going with it, is the practice of shama. If you do not go with the want as they arise, they will not continue to come up indefinitely. It's like someone keeps calling you and they're saying hello, but you keep putting the phone down. They will not continue to call anymore. They will stop at some point. So too, if the want, the desire keeps coming up and saying hello, and you exercising shama, do not give that any, you do not put it into action. You keep a certain distance with it, then it will slowly ebb away. You put the phone down. Someone keeps calling you, and each time the person says hello, you put the phone down. How long will he or she keep calling? Year two. If you do not go with the wants, they will go because there is no one to support them. This is what when Swami Gurudev talks of taking anuvrat. Anuvrat is when you take, if you want to get out of a habit, you take a small vow, you take a vow that for a certain period, a short period of time, it's not like forever I'm going to stop. So you tell yourself for 2 days or 3 days, I'm not going to have this. For example, if you want to give up sweets, So tell yourself, for 2 days, I'm not going to eat sweets. So every time that desire comes up to eat sweets, and there are sweets around you, which there will be, there always will be enticing things around when you want to give up something. So you tell yourself, no, I'm not going to have it. So 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and slowly you keep increasing that to another week, maybe 10 days, a month. Then you will see that want, that desire comes up, crops up, and that the intensity of the desire starts coming down because you're not giving it, you're not going with that. In this way, whatever karma that is there becomes meaningless. As long as I have a distance between myself and my ragas and dveshas, I can decide to go with them or not to go with them. Let them be there. They need not affect me at all. This is the beauty of what is being said here. We are not trying to eliminate the wants. We only want to maintain enough distance or space, to use the American expression, so that we can decide either to go with the want or not to go with it. This is real space, freedom, and is also the practice of Shama. So, creating a distance between you and the want. Why is karma called a papma, a sinner here? Because it robs you of your knowledge and wisdom. It is jnana, vijnana, nashana. We refer to the people who rob us of our money as criminals, but such petty thieves cannot rob us of our knowledge, the greatest wealth we have gathered. Knowledge is something which is our own. It is not for anyone to rob, right? But this karma is such a criminal that it robs us of our knowledge. Money can always be gathered again, but because knowledge is not as easily gathered, it is considered to be our greatest treasure. Knowledge is something that is gathered, garnered, gleaned, cleaned up over a long period of time from varieties of experiences. To take away such a treasure, therefore, is a great sin. Thus, karma is called a papma. See, knowledge is also is within, is our own. Karma is also from within. Karma is not coming out from somewhere outside. A person who robs you of your money is not a papi. This term is reserved for that which robs you of your real treasure, your knowledge and discriminative power. That is karma. Knowledge, jnana, can also be taken here to mean the wisdom that leads to vijnana, the knowledge of realities. The one who is a destroyer of this jnana and vijnana is definitely a papi, sinner like, a criminal, in other words. Krishna told Arjuna to give up karma first by practicing dhamma and then by practicing shama. This is why people practice silence, mauna, for a length of time, for an hour, 2 hours, in the morning, and so on. People make these small vows all the time. The sadhus also practice certain disciplines, such as not talking or not eating on certain days. These practices of Dhamma lead to Shama, the capacity to sort out your wants and go with what you want. Further, Krishna said, Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhyah param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha. So before we go to this verse, let's just halt here. Any sharing? Please do share your understanding. Kama is considered a great sinner. So that's why we say there is, we learned this earlier. Kamo karshit, manyur karshit. This is said while doing a Sandhya Vandana, where it is Kama did it, and Manyu is anger did it. I did not do. So you're creating that distance between yourself and that Kama. So whatever has happened from me is because of Kama and Krodha. Kamo karshit, Manyur karshit. And in order to have a say on them, we exercise two practices. One, we develop and nurture two practices. One is Shama, which is creating a distance between us and the want, between me and the want. And Dhamma is the capacity to say enough.
Hey, Gurudev. And also here, Gurudev says always, be in the sattva, more of sattva, this thing, so that the rajoguna comes you get into all this desire and passion.
Correct. See, Rajo, we cannot escape the three gunas. We have a combination of these three, but we should have a sattva needs to be the upper hand. When sattva is reigning high, then rajas and tamas will be subdued. They will not be expressed, or they will not, sattva will be the predominant guna being expressed. But if we give rajas the upper hand, then sattva will be subdued. Sattva and tamas will. So at any one time, only one of the gunas will be predominant.
And also how to, nurture sattva guna by eating, sattvic food.
Correct.
And all, everything, goes like that.
Very right. So that is why food has such an important role. And one whole chapter is dedicated to the three gunas, Gunatraya Vibhaga, which is, I think, chapter 14. So it's not just food. Also in Shraddhatraya Vibhaga, which is the 16th chapter, Krishna talks about the 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 nature. It is not just about gunas, but it is the swabhava of a person, sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, and what are the characteristics of each of them. And being knowledgeable, being exercising viveka, and all the positive human values characterize sattva. Sattvat sanjayat. Yeah. So, so practice of this fasting, taking small vows, they're actually so beautifully intertwined in our culture. Fasting on Ekadashi, fasting for certain sacred days like Shivaratri, Navaratri, all of this, and going into silence. It's a very beautiful thing, going into silence, practicing silence. We all do it when we go on advanced courses, but doing it consciously while while going around with your natural, normal duties. I think if I remember, Mahatma Gandhi used to keep silence on one particular day of the week. Well, I'm not sure it was Monday or so. One of my cousins also, she practices Mauna and she does that. I think every Monday she's on. She
Yes,
takes
yes. Monday, yeah, correct.
Monday. She keeps silent. One of my aunts also. But this silence will be, it would, it is a, it is like you're exercising your will. See, when we do all of this, what are we developing? We are developing our will. And we saw how, in order to have a say on our karma, we need vichara, viveka. If it's a simple karma, like the smoke covering the fire. But if it is a stronger desire, like the dust covering the mirror, you require will. You require that strong will to say no. So when we practice all of these things regularly, what we are actually developing, that we're developing that muscle of the will, that will become stronger.
Beautiful expression, Brahmaraj, muscle of the will.
Mhm. Otherwise, the will is not very strong. Then your ragas and dveshas and karma will take you for a ride. That dhriti is one of the sattvic gunas. So further Krishna says, so anybody else, any more sharing? So why is it a Nitya Vairi? Nitya Vairi is for the discriminative person. For him or her,
The
even,
silence, sorry,
yeah,
uh, the silence, uh, keeping on one of the days in a week is absolutely good idea. But keeping silence when it is needed is most important, I feel.
of course,
That time we have to refrain, and that will strong will we have to have.
correct.
Otherwise, so many problems arise only because we speak when it is not
Mm,
needed.
mm, very right. That creating that distance. That is why that pause is so important. Pause before that thought gets into action, which is why Gurudev says, he says, if you, that normally natural tendency is if you want to yell and scream at a person, you'll telephone, pick up the phone, dial the number, and then call and yell. But if you want to do something good, generally people will say, oh, I'll do it later. I will do it next time. So he gives the example of this lady who in the middle of the night went to him and wanted to make a donation of a land or something in Canada. So she said, when asked, why are you coming at this time of the night? Says, you never know, my mind in the morning, by the time I wake up, it might change. So the good thought came, I wanted to donate and I wanted to do it immediately. So that's why when there is something good that comes up, do it immediately. When something not so good is coming up, give a distance. So it is all about decorating our own mind inside, removing the dust, creating space, decluttering it, and preparing it for the divine too. Divine is always there. It's just that it is covered up with so much of muck of all the negative tendencies. And the start of that is karma. From karma comes the whole bagload of the negative emotions. Because fermented karma becomes krodha. And from krodha comes krodhat bhavati sammoha, delusion. Sammoha smriti vibhramaha. You forget who you are, who the other person is. Smriti bhramshad buddhinasha. Your intellect goes for a toss. Buddhinashat pranashyati.
What is pranashyati?
Pranashyati is destroyed. That is the negative spiral we saw in Krishna describes in chapter 2, 62nd and 63rd verse. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat nashyati. So we'll go forward, verse 42. Indriyani, senses, parani, superior, ahuhu, they say, indriyebhyaha, to the sense organs, param, superior, manaha, mind, manasaha, to the mind, buddhihi, intellect, para, superior, buddhehi, parataha, tu yaha. Whereas the one who is superior to the intellect, saha, is he, Atma. So, Indriyani parani ahuhu indriyebhyaha. Param manaha manasahatu buddhihi. Para buddhehi parattaha tu yaha saha. They say that the sense organs are superior to the body. The mind is superior to the sense organs. The intellect is superior to the mind, whereas the one who is superior to the intellect is he, the Atma. When Arjuna asked his question about what or who it was that impelled a person to perform improper actions, Duryodhana was standing right in front of him. Duryodhana knew that what he was doing was wrong. Arjuna knew this. These two men had grown up together, had been raised in the same way, and had the same teachers. Besides, right and wrong do not require to be taught. Duryodhana knew what was right and wrong, but still he did what he did because of karma. Janami dharmam nacha me pravrittihi. Janami adharmam nacha me nivrittihi. Kenapi devena hridistitena yat karoshi tatha karomi. Yat. So that was Duryodhana's plight. And that was all because of karma. Karma for the kingdom, karma for power, karma for fame. Because of karma alone, or because of anger, which is karma in another form, a person does things that are not to be done. Anger is not something separate from karma. It is a modification, parinama, of your own expectation, your own desire. When there is no expectation, there is no anger at all. If you expect certain things to happen and they do not happen, karma can turn into anger. If you are not ready to accept what faces you, because karma transforms itself into anger in this way, Lord Krishna said, this desire is this anger. Kama esha, krodha esha. Kama esha, krodha esha. Rajo guna samudbhavaha. Mahashanu mahapapma. Vidyena miha vairinam. So kama and krodha are two fact faces of the same coin. It's just transformed, karma becomes krodha. Karma can express as want, passion, and anger, Krishna said. And because this karma covers your wisdom, it deludes you. It takes you for a ride. However, when you do not want a particular pursuit based on desire to go any further, when you are convinced that it has gone far enough, you should be able to stop it, to pull down the shutters on it. The dictating factor here is your wisdom, your understanding, and not your fancies. Discover the distance between yourself and your desires. Krishna was not asking to suppress or repress your desires. He said that to attempt to control likes and dislikes does not serve any useful purpose because the mind has its own ways. But you need not be swayed by them. In this way, your likes and dislikes will be no problem to you. Since your desires are located in the senses, mind, and intellect, you can have complete mastery over them by discovering a distance between yourself and your likes and dislikes. You cannot stay in the mind itself and have mastery over it. The more you go inside, the more reasons you find for why you are the way you are. This exploration may provide you with a certain understanding, but it cannot remove the reason, which is the problem psychology is faced with. Some understanding, some validation, and so on is useful, no doubt. But if you are always stuck with the same problem, what is the use of this kind of understanding? How can you deal with the problem? How can you master such a mind? To address this concern, Krishna said here that you have to go one step further. You must be yourself so that you can manage your mind. In this way, you will be able to take care of all your ragas, dveshas, all your kamas. You can take care of your raga, dveshas or kamas only when you are able to step outside of the kamas. If you want to weigh something, for example, you cannot be inside of that which you are weighing. If I recall correctly, Newton was supposed to have said, if only I could be somewhere a little away from the earth, then I would be able to weigh the earth. Similarly, how can you fix up your mind when you are in the very midst of its mess? If you manage to solve one problem, another one will only pop up in its place. If you discover, for example, that all your problems are due to your mother, what do you have then? You have the problem of having had this mother. Then you will ask, why did I have this mother? Why didn't I have a better mother? Why did my mother behave like this? Nothing comes of this, in that you are left with the same problem. In spite of the benefit of some validation, some understanding, the problem itself does not really go away. This is what keeps people going to therapists. And once they begin to go, the going itself becomes yet another addiction. It becomes something that must be done. Thus, although some help may come from the therapy, another problem has definitely been created. Ultimately, in order to deal with the problem, you have to step out of it, which is not to discount the usefulness of therapy as such. All that is being said is that you cannot really deal with psychological problems within samsara unless you step out of it. And how do you step out of samsara? Arjuna already had one foot out, it seemed. By planning to go to Rishikesh as a sannyasi, he thought that he would be stepping out of samsara. But this is stepping in, not out. Stepping out does not imply any external change. All that is implied is a situational change in terms of one's understanding, wherein the distance between one's desire, one's likes and dislikes is discovered. Only then can the mind be mastered. So it is a situational change. It is a change in the mind. You have to go antarmukhi. It is not something external. This creating a distance and stepping out of the samsara, stepping out of the karma. How can you do that unless you have that understanding? That is why Krishna used the word vidhi. Vidhi iha vairinam. Understand that it's all about knowledge, it's all about understanding, it's all about realizing. We'll read this one more time, but let me go further. The order involved in mastering the mind. Whatever we master is always mastered from another standpoint, which implies a particular order. So whatever we master is always mastered from another standpoint, which implies a particular order. Krishna was addressing this order here when he told Arjuna that those who know say that the senses are superior. So say the wise. Indriyani parani ahu panditaha. Ahu who is say. Panditaha ahu. Who does say this? That the indriyas are superior. The word superior, of course, implies comparison, and thus the question, superior to what? To the physical body is the response. So, with respect to the physical body, when you compare the physical body to the senses, senses are more superior to the physical body. The senses, indriyani, are superior to the physical body, which is a part of an individual, a jiva. They are superior because they have the capacity to objectify the body. The eyes and other senses can objectify the body. You can see your body with your senses. So obviously, the senses are, and you can feel your body. You can taste. You can smell. You can hear. All this that happens. You can hear your heartbeat. So the senses are therefore superior to the entity called the physical body. Another reason that the senses are said to be superior to the body is because they are subtler in nature. Being subtle, the senses have pervasiveness, vyapakatva. For example, the body remains on the ground, whereas the eyes can go to the stars. To do anything at all, the body has to move, whereas the sense of sight, by simply opening the eyes, has already gone to the stars. Thus, the eyes and other senses are more pervasive than the physical body. The superiority of the senses is further established by the fact that they are inside the physical body in the form of the subtle body, sukshma sharira. Then the verse goes on to say that the mind is superior to the sense organs.
Please read that
Indriya,
sentence again.
come again.
Please read that sentence again. Previous sentence.
You want the whole paragraph? Yeah.
No, only one sentence.
The superiority of the senses is further established by the fact that they are inside the physical body in the form of the subtle body, sukshma sharira. So sukshma sharira is, with the very term sukshma, it means it is less gross, it is finer, it's more subtle, the subtle body. So compared to the gross body, which is stula sharira,
Correct. Senses.
sukshma sharira. If you go by the definitions of Stula and Sukshma Sharira, you want to revise the definitions based on Tattva Bodh. What is Stula Sharira? Panchikrita Panchamahabhutaihi Kritam Satkarma Janyam Sukhadukhadi Bhogayatanam Shariram Asti Jayate Vardhate Viparinamate Apakshiyate Vinashyati. Etat Shadvikaravat Stula Sharira.
Stula Sharira.
That is Stula Sharira, right? So what is Sukshma Sharira? Apanchikrita Panchamahabhutaihi Kritam Satkarma Janyam Sukhadukkadi Bhoga Sadhanam Pancha Jnanendriyani Pancha Karmendriyani Pancha Pranadayah Manaschaikam Buddhischaika eva
Sukshma Sharira.
Etad Sukshma Sharira.
Thank
you. Right. So the senses, therefore, are subtler than the physical body. And they also have this beautiful aspect of vyapakatva. They're more pervasive. The body is here, but you can hear a sound that is far away. So the sense of sound has pervasiveness. The same thing with smell. The body is here in this place, but you can smell something that is far away from the body.
That example is given. You can see the stars. Your body
Stars,
is here, but you
exactly.
can go to the moon or
Correct. So that is the sense of sight. So then the verse goes on to say that the mind is superior to the sense organs. Indriyebhyah param manaha, because the mind can go where the senses cannot. For example, the mind alone can go to heaven. It can also suffer an imagined hell, which is something that the senses cannot do. Also, the mind is the one in whose hands the senses are. Without the mind, there is no sense perception at all. Thus, the mind is definitely superior to the senses. It has access to regions where the senses have no scope. The mind's accessibility and the dependence of the sense organs on the mind definitely makes the mind superior, according to those who know. I will read this para again. So then the verse goes on to say that the mind is superior to the sense organs. Indriyebhyah param manah, because the mind can go where the senses cannot. For example, the mind alone can go to heaven. It can also suffer an imagined hell, which is something that the senses cannot do. Also, the mind is the one in whose hands the senses are. Without the mind, there is no sense perception at all. Isn't it? For a person in coma, where his mind is not functional, there is no sense perception. Thus, the mind is definitely superior to the senses. It has access to regions where the senses have no scope. The mind's accessibility and the dependence of the sense organs on the mind definitely makes the mind superior, according to those who know. And another aspect of the mind is this: it's a seat of emotions. Senses do not have emotions, right? They only are reporters to the mind. It is in the mind that you have all these feelings. So
So
therefore,
whoever is in coma, he doesn't have the mind, senses, anything.
yeah, he may have
Oh, but
senses, but
he
they're
can
not
hear.
functional. Yeah. But unless that connect is there between the sense and the mind, there is no use of having sense. So
Hmm.
therefore, the mind is superior to the senses. Like how the are superior to the physical body, the mind is superior to the senses.
Correct.
It's a beautiful, analysis of which is superior to what. Again, with reference to the mind, the intellect is said to be superior. Manasastu para buddhi, because the buddhi is able to dismiss a doubt of the mind with proper understanding. Buddhi includes your will also. Doubting and vacillation are the mind. Once there is resolve, which is buddhi, there is no more vacillation. You cannot say you have both resolve and vacillation at the same time. Once the resolve is there, the vacillating mind, the doubting mind goes away. Thus, the buddhi is definitely superior to the mind. So, with respect to, say, taking a vrata or fasting, you have decided, the intellect has decided, yes, today I'm going to fast. So, no matter what food is around you, what is enticing you, because you have taken that resolve, I am not going to eat today, the buddhi has a say over the mind. The mind might still want, it might say, oh, this is nice, the smell is good, that is good. But then the resolve, the will is far superior to the mind. So that has the final say, though. It has the upper hand. Whereas mind is doubting and vacillation, to do, not to do, to do, not to do. That is the aspect of the mind. But once you've decided to do or not to do, either ways, that decision is taken, then you go with it. So the understanding. So intellect is all about resolve, dhriti, will, and understanding. Desire is destroyed by recognizing you are limitless. So remember earlier, I think yesterday or day before, desire, karma is because of a sense of limitation. The very reason we have karma is because we have a sense of limitation. And now it is just the opposite of that. Desire is destroyed by recognizing you are limitless. The mind and buddhi are the places wherein karma moves. Right? So karma is located where? Not just mind, buddhi, also the senses. The karmas are located right here. The difference between the mind and buddhi is only with reference to the types of vritti that take place there. We have seen how the desire located in the mind can be so powerful that it can take the buddhi along with it. Therefore, in order to really deal with your desires, you have to step outside of them. Then you can see exactly where the karma is hiding. This is why Krishna went on to say that the one who is above the buddhi is Atma, yourself. Yaha tu buddhehe parataha saha paramatma. So when you even step outside of your buddhi, that is when, that is the Atma. Atma is superior to the buddhi. What Krishna meant here is that in order to take care of the karmas, you have to recognize yourself as the Paramatma. Even though he said to practice Dhamma and Shama, you have also to see that you are not the buddhi, the mind, or the senses. You are the Paramatma, the limitless. Once you are awake to this fact, the enemy, karma, is no more a problem. This then is how you deal with karma drastically and finally. When you are free from any sense of limitation, there is no enemy, and the wants you may have become harmless, mere privileges, in fact. Your mind is there, and you have the privilege of desiring. Desiring is a privilege only when you do not need to fulfill any desire in order to be secure and happy. So rather than being a problem, desire becomes a privilege. What a beautiful perspective. And then the last verse of chapter 3, Krishna said, Evam buddhi param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. So he says, O Arjuna, knowing that which is superior to the intellect in this way, having made the mind steady with the buddhi, destroy the enemy that is in the form of desire, that which is so difficult to understand. We'll do this tomorrow.
I want how the desire becomes privilege. I missed it.
Yeah, okay. So basically, when you are, desire is destroyed by recognizing that you are limitless. So I'll read these few paras one more time. The mind and buddhi are the places wherein karma moves. We see in Adhishtana, karma, actually even the senses come in here. The karmas are located right here. The difference between mind and buddhi is only with reference to the types of vritti that take place there. The type of vritti in the mind is that of vacillation, doubting, emotions, feelings, all that is at the level of the mind, whereas buddhi is that of resolve, of decision. We have now seen how the desire located in the mind can be so powerful that it can take the buddhi along with it. Therefore, in order to really deal with your desires, you have to step outside of them. Then you can see exactly where the karma is hiding. This is why Krishna went on to say that the one who is above the buddhi is Atma, yourself. Yaha tu buddhehi parataha saha paramatma. So unless the police is, the police of course is apart from the thief. But if the police is also working hand in glove with the thief, how can he catch the thief? The thief here is, the great sinner is karma. So therefore you have to step outside of that. How is that possible? Only when you realize yourself as Atma. You're apart from buddhi, manas, and senses. What Krishna meant here is that in order to take care of the karmas, you have to recognize yourself as the Paramatma. Even though he said to practice Dhamma and Shama, you have also to see that you are not the buddhi, the mind or the senses. You are the Paramatma, the limitless. Once you are awake to this fact, the enemy, karma, is no more a problem. This then is how you deal with karma drastically and finally. So, the Sthita Prajna is like this. He is Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogata. So, as and when the karmas come in, they are as though destroyed for the Sthita Prajna. When you are free from any sense of limitation, there is no enemy, and the wants you may have become harmless, mere privileges, in fact. So, when you are free from any sense of limitation, then there is no enemy, right? There is no karma, because we saw earlier that karma arises because of a sense of limitation. I feel insecure, I feel small, I feel incomplete, I'm apurna, therefore I need something to complete me. And that is how karma arises. So then there is no enemy when you have no sense of limitation, and the wants you may have, become harmless, mere privileges, in fact. Your mind is there, and you have the privilege of desiring. Desiring is a privilege only when you do not need to fulfill any desire in order to be secure and happy. So basically, all your desires have transformed from being binding desires to non binding desires. Therefore, they are a privilege.
Excellent.
So it's a privilege. You're not expecting anything. You're not uh, bound by that, whether the desire happens or doesn't happen. It's a non binding desire. Therefore, it's a privilege. So it's a privilege only when you do not need to fulfill it. That is when it's a privilege, no? You're given the privilege of, what is that, gold card or something. You can use it, not use it.
But they're already, you're limitless, and you're happy, and so you're not there to have the desire to fulfill, to be
No, correct.
secure and
But
happy.
you're still in the physical form. You still have your prarabdha, right?
Yeah, prarabdha. But yeah, but then if you realize that Atma is yourself, um, that's when you let go of this karma and all that, right?
Correct. Karma is eliminated the moment you realize you are Paramatma. Because that root, very root of karma is eliminated. And that root is what? Identification with the matter equipment. Once that identity is removed, where is karma? It just disappears. But since still in the physical body, you can have preferences. You can have your karma then becomes a privilege for you.
Mm.
You may not fulfill it, doesn't matter. You're
So
not affected
privilege
by it.
meaning the like right? Is that the
Not a right, it's a
privilege?
preference. So I prefer
Preference?
to
Okay.
have tea or coffee rather than I want tea or coffee. I want this. That want
Mm.
becomes I prefer. I If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. You have the mind, you have the desire, privilege of desiring. You may not desire also. Like Ramana Maharshi did not have any desire. He remained with his little loin cloth, right? So you have a say on your karma. That is the whole point. Not karma having you.
Right. The Atma has karma Atma is in karma, but not
Right. Karma is
karma,
not in Atma.
not Atma. Okay.
Mhm. So we'll see the last verse tomorrow. We'll go through the verse 42 one more time and then go to the last verse, right? Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.